All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the coffee run on a holiday weekend. How y'all doing? I see we got Two Wheel Paradise in here. We got Randy here. Good morning, guy. Kevin Smith, of course. Good morning to you. And JR. Everybody's here. Everybody's here. Look at this. We got Cajun Craps in the building. I guess you're all going to leave in about 20 minutes because Brian from Hawaii Crap Shooters is going to go live with a rollout and some crapsy. I will not be doing that today, of course, but go forth and play if you want to. It's all good. David Peak says this, but I got to put this up here because it's interesting. Shoot to win timer was too short. One of the more frustrating things that I've got, honestly, with the roll to win, I don't mind the shoot to win, the bubble craps as much as I used to. But man, that timer sucks. If you're playing the automated one, how many times you gotten stuck with your with not getting your bets in time, and you get stuck with some stupid ass bet? Same as Crapsy, right? Crapsy's got this weird timer thing on it, and I forget to press that damn button all the time. I'm always forgetting. Get my bets in straight, but yeah. Anyway, here we go. Let's get into the show here. That's the power of love. I love the fact that Fox was trolling the Cowboys all day yesterday. If you watch or whoever ran the game, whatever network it was, I think it was Fox, trolled the Cowboys all day. You know me, not a Cowboys fan by any means. I was like loving my life yesterday, but they were playing Huey Lewis in the News, That's the Power of Love, during the breaks yesterday, and they did. And Chris from Dice DGen said, you got to go watch Skip Bayless's Twitter feed. Skip Bayless went on tilt yesterday, and he pointed out that they played Won't Get Fooled Again, which was hysterical. I mean, God, how many times are they going to put the Cowboys preseason number 1 and they're going to have the early exit? I mean, it just warms my little heart every time that happens. It was cracking me up. Anyway, good day of football yesterday. I did call the Packers game. I just want to point that out. I called that one all the way. I was really wrong, though, on the Miami Dolphins, man. I thought the Dolphins would have came with some more juice. And early on, they had that nice long play. They started out okay, but they just went to the run, and Tua couldn't find the handle on that football. And I just thought maybe with the speed of the receivers, they could have used that slick turf to their advantage, and they just didn't. That was just, to me, poor coaching, and not a great quarterback. But I'm an Andy Reid fan. You know me, right? So I wanted the Dolphins to win because I wanted to be right. But really, I'm a huge Andy Reid guy because he used to be with Philly, and I just love him. So go Chiefs, go. How about a Chiefs Pack? How about a Chiefs Pack rematch for the Super Bowl this year? Wouldn't that be kind of cool? Anyway, it's MLK Day. We're all hopefully off of work today. I got off of work anyway. So, but I was thinking about this. MLK is a interesting cat, right? He in the day, pretty divisive guy, right? By today's standards, not so much. By today's standards, you look at him and go, man, that's about some of the most common sense shit I ever heard. And I was curious if you guys have a favorite quote from him. Just throwing it out there because I actually have an MLK quote on my resume, if you can believe that. Not the normal thing that you do, but there was a quote that I'd heard from him a while back. I'm not sure which speech it was in, but where he says, if a man hasn't some, pardon me, wow, all choked up. The quote is, if a man hasn't found something he's willing to die for, then he isn't fit to live. And I'm like, from a guy who's obviously willing to die for the cause, that's a pretty powerful quote, and I think you can look at the content of your character quote, which really in its day was controversial. Today, like, can we just get back to that? Like, what we're doing now is like everybody's valued based on the silo that they live in, right? Or the way they identify or whatever, versus the content of their character. But yeah, that quote about, if you haven't found something you're willing to die for, you aren't fit to live. That's just, I mean, I don't know if I go that far in my life. I'm willing to like literally die for a cause, but my family for sure. And to me, it speaks to like how all in you are on things. And I tell my kids this all the time. I'm like, you got to be, whatever you're doing, I don't care what it is. If you're going to be an auto mechanic, be a waitress, I don't give a shit, but be all in, right? Give 100% heart and soul to whatever it is that you're doing. That's what that quote means to me. And that's kind of, those two quotes, the content of your character quote and that quote there, to me are kind of like the way I run my life anyway, the way I kind of run this channel, right? So you know me, I'm all in all the time. So I kind of feel like I am willing to go to the wall for y'all when it comes to this game. And you'll find that there are times where I go off the rails and get really pissed off and really into things. And it's not because I'm trying to be a troll or I'm trying to be a know-it-all. It's just there are some days where I feel like, and like the trending thing is one of them, where I just feel so connected to you, and so like I want to make sure that you have all of it. So and I'm, like I said, I'm just trying to be all in with you. So that's kind of where it is for me. That quote just always reminds me to never go halfway. And that's one of my favorite quotes of all time. And it's interesting that that's from him. And today, of course, is the day we celebrate. So I think that's a really good quote. And I think that's one that, like I said, I share it with my kids all the time. And I share it with my students all the time too. Like, you got to be all in. I can teach you craps. I can teach them coding. I can't teach you to give me your heart and soul, and give your heart and soul to your employer and to your wife. So there it is. That's what I got for y'all. All right. What else do we have today? Daily paycheck. Wow. I got a question for you. Am I playing big enough on this one? I'm gonna flip ahead real quick and then go to my table because I want to ask you a question. We're 7-4. Okay. Our average win is 266. The average loss is 303. If you can keep your wins and losses about the same and you're winning more than you're losing, you're going to be okay. You catch an 80% win rate and you're winning more than you lose, or right about the same, you're going to be just fine, right? And I think what we're experiencing in the daily paycheck is the offset of 10% win goal, 100% loss limits, way too offset, right? I do believe it in stop loss zero, right? If I'm buying in for it, that's what I'm risking today. And we talk about that all the time in our Gambling 101 series. But I think that I'm willing to lose what I brought for too small a goal. It's probably the offset's wrong. And I want to go to my table and talk about this with you real quick, because this has been coming up for me. It came up last week in a conversation I had with JB, and I think about it more and more and more. And here's what I want to show you. Let's take a look at my rack in two sections here. Okay, here's a rack that's got, I'll put it here in the field. Can you see it? Okay. Or I'll put it here in the middle. There you go. I'll put it there. There's $2,500 in the rack. Matter of fact, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to put 500 in the front, and the back side, I'm going to put 2,500. 2, 3, 4, 5. $2,500 in the back, $500 in the front. I'm going to show you why I'm doing this. So far, on the days that we've won, in our $2,500 buy-in, we've never gone past 5 units. In other words, if I put all this back out here, this is going to lead into our big bankroll energy talk today, right? If I'm here, like I was this morning, right? Our first $500, playing all the bets, we have not yet dipped into this, except for one time. One time we lost because I played too long, right? Every other time, all 7 of our wins, and actually 3 of the 4 losses, we've never gone past the first $500, which tells you about the strategy, by the way. It's a strong, relatively safe strategy. But knowing that, here's what happens. We go in for 500, essentially, and we're winning about $300, which, if I do it in greens, 1, 2, $300, that's 12 units, okay? So we're turning, essentially, $500 into $300 or $800 in profit. But if you look at this, that's 20 units, right? That's $25 times 5. It's 20 units at risk to win 12 is what we've really been doing, if you think about it. If I lose the 500, that would suck, but most of the time we're winning 3, and we're gonna be okay in that realm. I'm wondering if given the fact that that's been our history with a strategy like this, the whole point of growing the bankroll buy-in, remember we're at about $25,000 in our master bankroll, so I'm buying in for about 10% of that to put at risk to win a couple of $100. It's gonna take us too long to get to the 100,000, obviously, like that. But the point of having the bigger buy-in is to have bigger bet sizes. And we've been stuck at these quarter-sized bets for so long, we're kind of treading water. So I'm wondering if it makes sense to say, hey, look, we're buying it for $2,500. Fine. Willing to risk the whole 2,500, stop loss zero style, but it's really 5 units. And what if we took the one $500 unit and bet this round with black chips and said pass line, whatever comes out, the 6 is the thing, Don't pass. Aces, that's awesome. Stack it up. Watch me just win my ass right here. There's a 6. That's great. We stack it up. The puck's off. This comes behind the 6. And we'll drop $150 behind there and play this thing at this level right here. Right? Start doing it like this at the black level. When we hit our goal at the black level, which is about what? There's the point of 8, and we'll put $600 or $500 behind it. When you start hitting your goals here at the black level, there's a 6, which sucks. You're out of here with a loss that you're okay with, 5 units of loss. And again, we got to remember purple, black, whatever the unit size is, who cares, right? It's the unit that you're playing with. I'm willing to lose 5 whatever units if they're black or they're purples. And there's the 8, which is fantastic, right? We're going to get paid $700, 600 back there, and 200 in the front, and you're out, right? There's your $2,500, and here is, even though the 6 got beat, you're $650 in profit right there, right? That's not quite the 12 units that we normally win, right? You could play it again, but you're already in ahead, right? Out easy, and say, yeah, I'll risk 2,500. I'll risk, in this case here, 25 units to win 10 units. So up the win percentage a little bit and downgrade the loss limit. Loss limit goes to 5 units, the win goal goes to 2 units. And think of it in those terms. And I want you to think about that, right? Risking 5 units to win 2 units or 3 units is really what we're doing here. I'm gonna come back to the screen here. And just consider that as an option, okay? I am not gonna do it tomorrow, but I'm considering that as an option. Like, we've been risking about 5 units is all I'm willing to lose. My stop loss has gone down to 5 units. And I'm trying to win, 10 units out of that. Why not just do it with the whole thing and just burn the 25 or win 1,000, right? And I think that's an interesting thing. Yeah, Victor's at 50% stop loss. Like I said, and I've been tweaking it, right? I've been in win craps going, okay, what is the correct stop loss here, right? There's no answer to the stop loss. There's no real answer. It's what you feel comfortable with. But what I'm looking at here is this. Okay, and look at the screen that I've got. Matter of fact, I can probably do this with you, drawing on it. Again, I think it's this and this. It's the ratio that's right. It's not so much that the stop loss needs to be 50%. It's that the win goal and the stop loss have to be equal. I think that's the secret, is that the win goal and stop loss have to be pretty much equal, or the average win size has to be equivalent to your average loss, right? And you got to win more than you lose. So if we're saying we'll risk 5 units to win 1, 2,500 to win 500, right? Or whatever. If you can keep that ratio about the same, you're going to be okay. This, I think, is where the key is. I think it's in here somewhere. I don't know what the right numbers are yet. I'm tweaking it some. But I think the point of having bigger buy-ins is set bigger bet sizes and get out quick on either side of it. Get out quick because you lost it. Get out quick because you won it. But maybe that's the thing. Bigger risk, bigger reward, right, is what Buckeye is saying. Let me get out of this screen here. For sure. Right? And again, remember that it's all about the units. We're going to talk about units here in just a little bit. I think where the key to this whole conversation lies, is the unit size. What does your unit risk and reward look like? So whether it's green chips or black chips or purple chips, doesn't matter. It's how many of those are you going to risk and how many of those you're looking to win. So anyway, there's the odds maker talk. So far, so good. We had one really bad day, and it was bad because of my brain, not because of anything else. I played too long. So I'm feeling pretty good about this strategy in general, except for the one bad day. So here we go. Let's move ahead and talk about gambling again. So hopefully you all liked the show on Friday. Having David White with us. I wish he would have been live, but it's hard. He's on the East Coast, and it's hard to get schedules lined up. But I thought that was a really good session. I got a lot out of talking to him for sure. If nothing else, what I got out of talking to him was the confidence to approach somebody that I think has a problem, right? And if you got somebody in your life that's got a gambling problem or a drinking problem or a drug problem or something else, I think he kept saying it over and over again, you've got to intervene. And the thing is, be bold in your intervention. Like, hey, we should have a talk. I'm sensing you have a problem. I'm not liking what I see. Can we have a talk about it? Be bold in having the conversation, but be passive in letting them drive it. Like, you can bring it up, you can present the options, they have to buy in and do their thing, right? You have to allow them to kind of drive that, but being bold in calling it out, I think, is an important thing. And that's the major takeaway that I got from him too. I also got from him that the mental side of it is really different than in substance abuse. And I think this is the major difference. They're all mental, right? Everything, if it's gambling problem or if it's a drug problem, it's always mental. I think the difference with gambling and a substance abuse problem is that the substance abuse problem, the physical manifestation of that is, you wake up. I know a lot of alcoholics and wake up and they have to have a drink to kind of get normalized, right? Just to get regular sometimes. Right? You don't have that with gambling problems. Gambling problems are different. You have the shakes for different reasons when you're not playing, but there's not a let me get to where I can walk straight thing that an addict might have. It's just different, right? And he's like, you can train yourself early on with disciplined money management to never get into a problem situation. Like, if you have the things we talk about here, goals, strategy, bankroll, mindset, discipline, if you get these as part of your life, helps your life. If you get these instilled in you now, as a gambler, it'll prevent you, hopefully, from getting into something bad, right? Having the mental strength to get through it can keep you out of the morass. That's what we hope for, right? And that was a big part of his messaging. So just your reminder, your daily reminder, right? About having a goal, having a strategy that works most of the time, that leads you to wins, right? Having a strategy that wins 75, 80% of the time, even when things aren't going well. It's important to have a way to play. Whatever your game is, if it's craps, if it's roulette, it doesn't matter. Having a solid strategy that wins more often than it loses is important. And then having the bankroll to account for your losses, like we're talking about today. What is the stop loss against your bankroll for that goal, for that strategy that's going to make it work the best, right? Having your mind right and having the discipline to carry it all out. Those are the big things, right? You got to have an understanding of math, variance, how these games work, I think, to make it all tie up in a nice little bow. So that's your daily intro. And we're going to remind ourselves here, we're working through the psychology phase right now. So the reality check is this. Does your personality, are you conservative? Are you risk taker? Are you a trend better? Are you a math guy? Are you like today we're going to talk about the bankroll hitters. Does your personality match with your bankroll? And does that support your goals? That's the big question that we've got. So today we're going to talk about that series of ideas through the mind of what I call a bankroll hammer. Somebody who's got the bankroll to do whatever the fuck they want. Sorry for my French, right? Somebody with the bankroll to just hammer the casino. They've got money, unlimited funds. We don't. I certainly don't, right? But if you've got a big enough bankroll, you have way more flexibility in your approach to the game. So the bankroll hammers play these games, I think, on a very different mindset and level. And it can be really, really smart way you play. It can be really, really dangerous. If you've got too much bankroll and you're not smart about it, it can be super dangerous for you. So let's look at the important things here. Okay. And again, the questions: what is your bankroll for this trip, for this session at a table, or for this shooter at a craps table, or this series or this shoe even on a blackjack, baccarat, or roulette table? What is your goal, your bankroll that your buy-in is, right? Am I buying in for $1,000? I'm playing 100 for this session. What is the goal for the $100? Is it to win 10? To win 50? To double it? What is the goal? Have to know that going in. You got to have dollars and cents moving in. And a way you define your goal is this. And here's our goal statement. In this, fill in the blank. In this shooter, for this shooter, I'm willing to risk $100 to win $35 playing craps with the Iron Cross, so that I can use that $30 to play my next bets, right? Simple goal statement, right? Simple way of looking at it. On this next 3 spins in roulette, I'm going to risk $30, 10, 10, and 10 on 3 spins, so that I can win another $30 to go inside and play something, play the birthdays, whatever the hell your strategy is, right? That's having this, I think, declared up front before you place your bets is super important because it gives you something to kind of ground yourself to. Without the grounding, it's really hard to stick to a goal. You got to state it. And if you just, like I say, get it in your mind before you place the bet, I think is an important thing. And again, rewind it, right? Does what I want to do, the way I want to play, match what I just said? Is it going to get me to my goal? And today, again, we're going to look today at the bankroll hammer guys, okay? We have been through the conservative player whose goal is to, grind, save their money and eke out the consistent wins, right? We looked at the aggressive player who's willing to burn the entire bankroll to hit a home run. We've looked at thinkers who are playing chess against the casino, trying to find all the ways to have less wax on a roulette table, to maximize my edge on a blackjack game, to find the perfect set of bets on a craps table so I don't get hurt when something bad happens, right? We looked at mathletes who don't care about any of that, who are mechanically playing the lowest possible house edge games, but they're doing it with extreme aggression, right? Again, the mathletes get a lot of flack, I guess, for playing boring ways. I rag on it for being boring. I'm fully aware of that, right? But these guys, you shouldn't confuse boring math low house edge play with a lack of aggression or with a conservative mindset. Those guys are hitting it hard. Trust me, they're hitting it really hard because when the home run swing or when that juicy pitch happens, they're there. When it's not, they're not getting hurt, and that's their idea. But today we're going to talk about the bankroll hammer guys, the bankroll hammer player, the guy that's got the huge dough. How does that guy play? How do we define a bankroll hammer? Okay, this is a person with bankroll to burn. And again, I say this all the time. Whatever you're bringing, be ready to light it on fire and don't care if you do. You have to go to the casino with money you're ready to light on fire and you're not going to miss it. But the bankroll hammer guy has more than most of us. Calling a spade, right? They're willing to use every bit of it. They're categorized by, a lot of times, playing in a style that chases loss. You'll see a lot of the guys with the big bankroll, they're playing martingale or D'Alembert systems or some kind of a loss chase system because they have the bankroll to withstand it. This person is saying, I'm going to use my bankroll to mitigate my loss, not my bankroll to ensure a win, right? And you can look at it from either side. There are guys I know that have huge bankrolls that play from the other side too. We'll talk about that here in a minute. They're typically going to go big or they're going to go home, right? Willing to burn it all, right? But they know that they can withstand the bad streaks. Those of us who buy in with small money, that are playing smaller bets or whatever, we can't typically last out a bad run. That's the difference, right? If I buy in for $5,000 and I'm playing with $25 chips, I can last a lot longer than the guy buying in for $500 playing with $25 chips. That guy's only got a few cracks at the apple. That's it. The bankroll hammer has got a longer chance. They can withstand a down streak, wait it out, and then come at it when it changes. They'll still be there when it changes, where a lot of us won't be there. That's the primary difference here. I think that what you'll see from a bankroll hammer guy are these sort of betting patterns, right? Huge regressions, okay? 640 across down to 160. That's the way that our friend Gargoyle plays, right? 640 across, 1, 2, or 3 hits, and boom, you're down. Why? Because the 640 doesn't bother that person. If they're buying in for enough money, the 640, it's like me buying for 500 and playing 64 across, you buying for 5K, play for 640, it's the same thing. They're not worried about that. For me though, buying in at 64 across, I have nowhere to go. I have to go from 64 across and to shoot the ceiling. The person buying in for 5,000 going 640 across can take a couple of hits and then come down to, quote unquote, come down to earth, even at a high level, and then whack it. Right? They have a place to go to where the person buying in at table minimum because they're on a smaller bankroll has nowhere to run. They can only shoot it. And there's a big mindset difference there, right? The confidence to take a couple, regress, and go. It's a switch in your brain that they get to turn on that a lot of us don't, right? Which I think is interesting. A bankroll hammer player might do a perpetual press, and I've shown you this before. The Wayland's mind strategy is kind of like this. The permanent press inside strategy is kind of like this. I do a roulette strategy that's a permanent press that I'll show you. I'll do it in the field today. I'll show you how it works in the field on the craps table. Same idea, but you need massive bankroll to do it. And it works well when it works. And without massive bankroll, you can't survive when it's not working. And of course, the negative bankroll, the negative progressions are a hallmark of a person who's got a huge bankroll. They're going to play negative progression. They're going to do Marty. They're going to do Dalen Bears. They're going to chase the loss. You watch almost any roulette video. I would say probably 90% of them on Casino Quest or with the Roulette Master or what Jack Ace does. Watch any roulette video and they're all the same. Every roulette video, which is to me uniquely frustrating, they're all the same. It's like bet all this stuff, right? You got this street and that street and this corner, dozen, red, black, right? At $10, if you lose, everything goes up to 20. Okay, fine. You lose, it all goes up to 40. You lose, it all goes up to 80. They're martingaling every single bet. And when it comes, they take 2 hits and they come all the way back down again. They're martinging the whole thing. Every roulette strategy is a martingale. I swear to God. Because why? They know that the way the balls are going to run, you got that consistent the consistent 5% house edge on all the bets makes that a little bit different. But that's how they play. You need big bankroll to play that way, right? The rest of us who are buying in for regular amounts are just going to be like, and staying a little Hail Mary and hoping that our bets work. With the big bankroll, you can do a negative progression. And you'll find that a lot of the roulette guys play this way. A lot of blackjack players play this way. I see a lot of negative progressions on blackjack too. The more I'm watching guys play, I'm like, wow, there's so many people doing some form of a Marty on a 50-50 game, right? In craps, we don't see a ton of martingaling because unless you're martingaling the field, there's not a lot of bets out there that really, or the lines, that deserve a martingale or that work with a martingale like they do in other games. So our players will tend to ladder individual bets, and you'll see it. So anyway, there's a top level look at what a bankroll hammer player, I think, plays like. I'm going to switch this over to the craps table and give you a couple of examples of some of these ways to play. So here we go. Let's go over here and let's dial it in. And let's look at, in order, what we talked about. A huge regression as the first thing. And again, if you're buying in, and you're buying in here, let's put the money in the rack, right? Let's put the 5K out here. There's $5,000 in the rack, right? Again, which a lot of us don't normally get to see this. Okay, you buy in for $5,000, and you're going to come out here. Let's get a point established. Let's find a point. It's going to be a 6, and you're going to roll out here with 640 across. We'll take $1,000, and we'll take $360 back to our rack, and we'll go 640 across and not worry about it. Okay, $640, right? You can do a lot of things with this bet. A lot of things with this bet. Matter of fact, you can be a one-hit can't miss guy. Okay, I wouldn't do the field so much, but I would take a hit on a 9, right, for $140 and be done, right? Let's get out of here right now, right? I have the bankroll that allows me to do that. I'm going to take all, this is my $1,000 here, right? I'm going to take my first grand and just put it here. I'll put this actually, like there was my change, I guess, right? And here's my next 640. And with 140, guess what? That's 110 inside. And that's 15 on the 4 and 10, right? That's a great regression. That's a great regression. This is 140 across. This is an awesome place to start, okay? One hit and you're down. The difference between, like I said, this guy that just did that and maybe me, when I'm playing at 64 across, where am I going to go? I can't regress at 64 across. I bought him for $500. I go 64 across. I can't regress. My only move here, right, is to take this 9 that just hit to a quarter and pray that we don't have a PSO or a one-hit wonder here, right? I can only go up. This guy here got to go down, and he went down, and he's playing at a great level, right? You're playing at, this is significant money in here, right? 140 across can turn into $1,000 in 5 or 6 rolls, depending on what comes. But he's playing, again, on house money because he's going to afford to do that 5 to 8 times, right? It's a good way to there's a 6. Good way to approach it. That's one way a bankroll hammer person might do it. On a roulette table, that might look like 100 on 2 dozens, right? 100 each on 2 dozens. Take a hit, which nets you $100, right? The way that the dozens work, if you play 2 dozens, like that, a unit each on 2 dozens, you lose one pays 2, you're back up and you have your profit. But if you're out there and you're here and you go $100 on, I'll put it here, $100 on 2 different dozens, and you win, your net win is gonna be the 4 quarters. Back to your rack that goes. Back to your rack goes $50. Now you've regressed down, you have 2 quarters to either go back to the 2 dozens with, or you can even bring 75 back and go $10, $10, and 5 over here. Or pick up the reds, right? 2 dozens in the reds. With your quarter that you just got back, you've locked up some money. I have 3 more chances to do this again and start progressing those bets. Again, the bankroll hammer guy can take $5 grand and put $200 out there and not give a shit, right? That's the difference between him or them and you or me that are playing with smaller bankrolls. Unless, here's the big unless you're finding a very small table. And what I mean by that is like the auto craps, where your minimum bet is $5 total action. Or you're finding a table like the roulette that rolls by itself, that automatic roulette thing, where it's $5 minimum bet total, and you can have $1 on the outsides. You can take $500 and feel like a champion at that table. And you can play that table big bankroll style. So there's one, right, the big regression. There's the permanent press type of thing. So let's say you got the $2,500, right? And let's start it with a quarter. Okay, I'm gonna get 4 quarters and 4 blacks out of this, okay? For the $500. We can start a little field run here. We can just do a little field run. And you can do what I call the permanent play in the field. And I do this on the dozens in roulette too. Let's just roll it out. There's a 10. And what I'm gonna do here is until I get to a 10 unit bet, I'm just gonna keep on, every roll that happens, we're gonna press it up. Doesn't matter what happens, okay? There's 10, look at that, 3. That pays triple, right? And every time we go up by a unit. No matter what happens, we're up a unit. I want you to watch what happens here. If we lose one, we're just gonna win it all here, right? 3, up a unit. And again, because I got a gigantic bankroll, I don't have to care. There was a 4 unit loss. So we come out here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Always up a unit. There's a 6. Do I have 6 here? No, I have 2. And a black, up a unit. There's a 5. Oh, look at us getting killed. Now in the field a bitch, right? Now we're gonna go up to 7 units. That loses up to 8 units. Oh my God, look at us getting killed here, right? We've got 9 units. There's gonna be, let's see, let's get some change. Just keep on rolling it until you get one, right? There's a 3. And again, 9 pays 9, which is awesome. It goes to 10. That back in there. We're already, believe it or not, back. Let's get this looking like it should. We're already basically got our money back, right? When you start managing the rack here, we're already essentially home. There's an 11. It happens really quick when you're doing the permanent press. Could you ever do this if you were not having the massive bankroll? No, you'd never do that. There's a 6. It's going to be a, what is that? 8, 9, 10, out to 11 units now. There is 11. Oh my God. There's 4, 8, 12 units. Oh, this is why this makes sense on the field, right? I think that might be profit level. We might be at some kind of a goal. You do that, right? Every loss, every win, keep bumping the bets up every single time. Yeah, there it is right there. There's our starting bankroll with $375 in profit, right? You can, again, keep hammering that thing, but you got the bankroll to do it. At some point, that could be a 20 unit bet. You just got to hit it one time in that progression somewhere along the way. And if you lose all of this, the bankroll hammer person doesn't care, right? Their whole thing is, I'm just going to take a stab at it and we'll see what happens, right? At dollars or on the bubble craps, or at dollars on the auto spin roulette, you can do that with a tiny bankroll. And again, the permanent press. You've seen me do this in craps before. If you watched my channel before, I've done this kind of play where we can do like a 110 inside kind of a thing. And every single hit, every roll of the dice, go up, right? And again, you need bankroll to make this happen, but every roll of the dice, same thing, right? There's a 6, $35, right? Maybe you're taking 22 and just doing a 22 inside press on every single roll, win or lose, until these things get to the black level, right? Win or lose, 22, 22, 22, 22. Hammer it, take it all down, and rinse and repeat. Every time you get the 5 units to it. It's like Wayland's Mine kind of thing, but win or loss. Again, the bankroll hammer can afford to play that way. More likely, though, what you're going to see is something negative out of the bankroll hammer player, and that looks like this. And again, we'll use the field as the example because it goes faster, but let's take money out of the rack. Let's do, we'll do green level. Green level field action. Okay, here we go. Field. Watch what I'm going to do. We're going to go ahead and play it out. There's a loss. I'll put the losses here. Okay. Next one is 2 units. We're going to go 1 green unit at a time. Up when you win, or when you lose, down when you win. So watch. We lost 1. We win 2. Go down a unit. Your bankroll is back to having 500, and now you're in profit. Next roll. 5. It's a loss. Up to 2 units. 7. That's a loss. Up to 3 units. We'll have to take $100 out of here and do 3 units there and a unit change. Let's have a bad. I want to have a bad run. Anyway, there's 3. Down when you win. There's a 4. That's a win. Down when you win. And we went up and down. Where are we at? There's 300, 400, 500. That's our starting bankroll. We're 75 in profit, right? Up 3 times, came down 3 times. You have a little bit of a profit there at the end. That's a ladder system. You couldn't do this without the big bankroll to support it. We went up 3 units, not that big of a deal. If this thing happens to go up to 10, where you're putting 250 out here, and then 275, and then whatever, you've got to have some juice behind you to make that happen. The bankroll hammer doesn't care about that. They're going to outlast 10, 15 losses in a row because they've got enough quarters in the rack to do it. When the field turns around and they can work themselves back down that ladder again, they were there for that to happen where somebody with a smaller bankroll at that level doesn't have the money. So that's a look at a ladder kind of a system. You've seen me probably play something like a 32 before, right? And a 32 system is interesting. Let's check this one out. We're going to go ahead and go really big here. The 32 is, I think, one of the better negative ways to play. It takes 32 units. So there is, do I have 32 purples? I'm not sure I do. 5, 10. Let's do this. That's 5, 10. There's 20. Oh God, I have barely 32. There's 32 units with 1 unit left. Okay, 32 units, there we are. And that goes 1, 1, 1. The progression is 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 4, 4. Did I count wrong? 8. 8. I'll put them like that because you can't really get them in there. 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 4, 4, 8, 8. That's the progression. So in a 32, it's a negative progression, looking to win 2 in a row at some level. Watch how this works. This is actually pretty cool. There's an 8, oh, sorry, in the field. For an 8, we lose it. Go back again for 1. There's a 10 that wins. You parlay your win. You need 2 fields in a row to make it work, right? We lose it. Huge bummer. Back out we go. There's a 6. You lose that one. Are we going to burn the 32? Well, for 2 units. There's a 10. 6, 4, 10. It pays 2. You parlay it. 5. Well, we're not going to get our parlays. Sweet. There's 2 units. Aces. That's perfect. 1, 2. It's like you hit your parlay almost, right? You're going to parlay that. I can pull 2 back, which is cool. I still got to hit the parlay, though, right? Can we get it? Nope. Another crack at level 2, though. We earned that. 5. Oh, my God. We're going to lose the whole $32. 3. Sweet. There's a 4-unit win. Stack it up. Come on, baby. Nope. Second one. There it is. There's a win. We'll stack it. Come on. Nope. Watch the bankroll hammer get his ass kicked live on John's show. There's an 8-unit bet. We need this one. There's a 10. That pays 8. Come on, baby. One more field number. Oh, no. Oh, no. We're going to burn $16,000. There's a 9. Oh, my God. Can we hit it right here? Can this be the 1? Can our last roll be the 1? Come on. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, my gravy. Look at that. There's our... Is that enough? That's enough. Watch this. 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 4, 4, 8, 8, and a profit. When you get into your second levels, your profit level's 1. That took some doing to get our $500, didn't it? But we got there. Okay. That again, you cannot do that unless you got 32 units of whatever it is you're playing. Now, again, on a regular little bubble craps, those can be dollars, and it's $32, and you're having some fun. This is $16,000. Not quite as fun when you have your last 4K up there, right? To do it. But that's another negative progression, okay? You could do a Marty if you wanted to, right? And the Marty works like this. We'll lay them out here again. There's gonna be, the first bet's 1 unit, then 2 units, then 4, then 8, because again, each one of these things is double the last one, right? 1, 2, 4, 8. That's just, we'll just do a 4, we'll just do this. We'll do a 4-level Marty, a 5-level Marty on the field. Can we win a 5-level Marty in the field? Let's go. 1 unit. There's a 10. If you're playing paycheck, you're home. You're out of here. You got your $500. You got to eat that day, as Ken would say, right? We'll keep playing it though because it's fun. Another 10. That's $1,000. Look at us go. The 9. $1,500. I can take the whole week off now. There's a 3. I don't have any more money. I'll use one of these actually. Here's the day where you've made a week's pay in 1 day, right? Finally, we lose 1. Let's go Marty it up. Let's go Marty it up. 5, lose that one. There's 4. There's a 10. It's going to pay 4. So 3 that we lost plus 1. That's how martingales work. You double, 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 double. It pays what you lost previously plus 1. And now you're back. There's 4, there's 2, there's 1. Okay, that's a martingale. Again, you need juice to do this, right? Not for everybody. I would never recommend you play a martingale ever on any game, but it's funny that I said all the roulette guys, that's all you see. Every roulette strategy out there is a freaking martingale. And it's like hopping. It's like hopping all the numbers up here, and I don't know, man. I for whatever reason, that's the accepted standard. I don't get it, but that's what they do. There we go. There we go. 9 steps, says Ken. 9 steps. Yep. Let's go back here. 9 steps. I wouldn't do 9 steps with this only because, let me go back to here again. I'm out of money. I only have enough purple chips to go 5 steps. If I had more purple chips, I would do more. But yeah, that's the thing, right? If you scope that down And Ken, I'm glad Ken's here because Ken's got two things on it, right? One is he caps the level. Number two is he caps it for time, right? You're only going to play that for a certain amount of time and you're in and you're out, right? There's rules around that, but you can't play that way. You cannot go, I will not let you go out there and play a martingale or a Dayland Bear or a 32 or any kind of negative progression or the permanent positive pressing, right? Press every single thing like we did before. You cannot do that without the massive bankroll to support the losses, because those losses are going to come. They're going to come, and you saw it right there. They're going to come in a wave and just take you out. That money's got to be burnable money to do that, and you've got to be able to walk when you hit that number, right? If you're going to do a negative progression with the intent of winning 1 or 2, whatever number of units it is, that's where your discipline comes in. Stopping on time, stopping on a unit win, and getting out, right? Those are the things that I think can tie this for you if you're going to play a negative way, or if you're going to play the stack 'em and rack 'em kind of play, stack 'em, don't rack 'em kind of play. That's an important thing to remember. Your bankroll has a lot to say about it, but with the hammer, you've got more options. You've got more ways to try it. You can try a negative, you can try a positive, you can try a regression. You've got ways to approach it. And again, as long as what you're bringing is burnable money, you have way more options than somebody like me who's starting out at minimum and having to build up. You're limited. There's nowhere to run when you're starting lower, unless you're going to be willing to burn more money, but a higher percentage of your bankroll. So there it is. You can't beat roulette. I know. I don't know why this is the thing though. I don't know why. The roulette videos, you watch roulette videos on YouTube, it's all martingale. Everything is a martingale. It's like there's no sense to it. But that's what they do. It's what the conventional wisdom is for some reason. And I kind of feel like when I start flipping around here and doing more roulette videos, which I will do pretty soon, I'm going to apply a lot of the way that we play craps to roulette. I'm going to do a lot more regressions, a lot more lift and spreads on the roulette table than is normally the way you see people do it. I think we can approach it a slightly different way. It's not going to change the edge, but I think it's going to change our winning patterns. So there it is. That's what I got to say. That's my bankroll hammer talk today. I think if you've got the bankroll to burn, you've got options. You have options. You can regress. You can forever press. You can chase a little bit of loss, and you can wait out some of the storm. Just be careful, right? Don't try and play this way without the right bankroll for the table that you're on. You can play that way on a bubble craps with dollars if your bankroll's $500. If your bankroll's $500, you cannot do this on a real table. That's just what I'm saying, okay? Mark the Point says, let's go to questions and answers here. It's a good time for that. Let's see. Where am I at here? Why am I on the wrong screen? There we go. Okay. Mark the Point, Brian, I am changing my view on DI. It's more complicated than I think. No kidding, dude. It's freaking hard. It's freaking hard, right? And yeah, random people, long rolls, setters like us, PSOs, right? It's ultimately, there's a lot of physics involved, right? And that's the thing. Dice setting and all that is hard. If you're going to get good at it, and people claim to be really good at it, it's not the kind of thing that you can do in a summer, right? You can't just learn it. You got to, put years into it. And, jury's out, right? The jury's out whether those years translate to enough money at the end of it, right? I keep on this pursuit of and I'll have a video that I want to do next week, maybe I'll do it Friday. Like a win craps, I want to go back to win craps and say, look, here's what it looks like. Like if you can do it, like if you can get an SRR from 6 to 6.5 or 6 to 7, just a little tiny bit of a juice. What does it do to the strategies? They go skyrocket if you can pull it off, right? There's an interesting goal there, but it's the amount of labor and focus that it takes to get it done it's not a thing you can do in a matter of months, right? Or quickly. It's just not. So, all right, let's check for PCs. Anything in here that's being said to me? Let's get some. Jen says, in the end, oh, there you go. That must be a Martin Luther King quote. That's a great one. In the end, we'll remember the words. Not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. That would be a quote that was appropriate during the Holocaust. Remember that whole thing with the Holocaust, right? They're taking everybody else. Nobody said anything until they were coming from me, right? That's very, very poignant point. I love that. Thank you. Well, again, you'd need as many trips as your win goals are, James. So it depends. If your stop loss is 0 every session and you lose it, but your win goal was only 10%, you need to win 10 times, right? If your win goal was 50%, it's 2 wins to recover. Just depends on what your goals are and how you're playing it out. So if you're gonna go super big on your bets and burn that entire bankroll, your win goal commensurate to your stop loss, that's the magic in there, right? How much stop loss relative to your average win size is the thing. When you look at all the things we did in daily paycheck from the first week to the last week, right? From whatever it was, 100 and whatever days ago it was. We lost in the first strategy because we went stop loss 0. I lost $1,000. We were buying it for $1,000 now. I lost $1,000 like 6 times and I won $150 the rest of the time. So it doesn't make up for it, right? I lost not very often, but I lost way too much in the losses. So our stop loss was too high relative to the win goal. We made our win goal all the time, but we just didn't win enough. And I think that was our biggest problem, was not winning enough. So bummer. It was a bummer. We're learning though, right? We're learning again, what does the ratio have to look like to do it this way, to make this bankroll build happen. So Skill and Luck says $3,200 across, 1 hit, go to 320. Exactly what I'm saying. Yes, right? The way you do that, by the way, if you're going to have a bankroll hammer, is work backwards. And this, by the way, works great on bubble craps. You can go 32 across, take your hit and go $6 across, right? $500 buy-in, 32 across, take your $7 win and go $6 across, right? The win that you get on your 1 hit and down needs to cover your across bets or cover your next bet in its entirety. 1 hit and down, work backwards. I want to play 140 across. How can I win 140? I play 640 because everything pays 140. If I want to play 320 across and I go 3,200 across, right? Everything pays 700. You go 320 across, you're playing at a great level and you're putting 320 back in your rack or 370 back, or whatever back in your rack. That's a beautiful thing if you can afford to do it, right? Going $3,200 across, you need at least a 10K buy-in just to get 3 tries at it, right? That's, it's, again, it's not for everybody. But if you've got it to burn, you can approach this game on a whole different level, right? Whole different level. So yeah, no SRR of 8. I don't know that anybody has an SRR of 8 consistently. That's, if you had an SRR of 8, you could retire, right? And again, when I show you win craps, I'll show you what it looks like. An SRR of 6.5, 7, 7.5, and 8, and I'll run some basic strategies on it. You'll be amazed at how you never lose. When you're, even a small SRR boost does an enormous amount of work for you. Just on like an across bet, same bet, which is kind of a dumb way to play, I suppose, right? Forever, same bet forever. Watch the thing just go into the stratosphere. It's crazy what a tiny bump, a consistent SRR bump does. And that's the problem. The problem with all of that is consistency, right? Having an SRR of 6.5 does not mean you're always 6.5 between 7s. But if the numbers are distributed in a good way for you, it's pretty interesting what that does. All right. All righty. I think that's it, all. I think that's it. I think I got nothing else to say. I'm looking around here. Any more questions? No more questions for me. No more PC comments. It's Monday. That's it. Good show. Thanks for being here. We have like, what, 30 people here? You guys are awesome. 36 people here stayed on a holiday day when Brian is throwing. Go watch Brian. Go. I think HCS is shooting right now. Go hang out with Brian. Tell him I said hi. I actually have to do a little bit of work, and then I'm off to the knee doctor. So I will see y'all tomorrow. Thanks again for being here, and enjoy your week. Love y'all. God bless. Bye.